Hello to everyone, this is Vishal. Again, we are in a new session of the day, that is the state management in Flutter. So, as we have done last time, that a simple screen we have created as an stateless in which we have called the widgets inside the widgets and create a simple UI. So the same we have to work, but here we are working with the states. So states means there are two kind of ways or we can say the approach in the Flutter. One is the stateless and another is the stateful. So whenever we talk about the stateful, so it means we want some actions, we want some events, a lot of things be there. But if you're talking about the stateless, so that means we have just represent something that is a UI part. That means we can't do anything like inputs, doing some inputs or submit click and many things. Okay. So for this, what we have to do, that means here the state means the stateless first, as we discussed that it does not have any internal state. So doing any actions we need to state like enter the text or whatever be as we discussed, and state informations that can be read when the widgets is a build and might change or modify over a lifetime. So if you want to change your widgets, you need to update the state object, which can be done in using the set state. But here it depends on the widget, that means which kind of states we are using with the get or set, means which widget we are using on that case. So here are different object and different kind of states we are working on that. So here we are using the set state, and as in my previous sessions, if we go with the jetpack sessions, parallelly I'm giving the sessions on that. So in that we are using the uh, we have the mutable with the reusable, then we call it, and using the by we can get or set the state. So differences with there. So here we are using the depends on controllers. Okay. So if you're talking about that the first visit today, that is called the text field, and which kind of state we are using that and how we can achieve it. So today we'll discuss so many things here, and also we'll discuss that type of states be here in the. So if we go with that two types of state here, so we can say that the first one is your ephemeral and the other is your app. So ephemeral state is the state is also known as UI state or the local state. So it is a type of state which is related to the specific widget. That means there is a text field, so it has some its internal state. If you go with your button, that means internal state. So likewise that it depends on which kind of input you want or which kind of action you want on that. So this is the state that contains a single widget, and ephemeral state is UI state or the local state. Is a state you can neatly contain in a single widget. So like if you go with the text field example, so when you input it, so then we have uh, their input way we can use the controller for that. Okay. So according to that we can work and we can input it like. So during that stateful widget, it works like a that means we can input something there. It's easy. So there are a lot of examples like a page view or many things. Okay. So we can check it one by one. And the other is app state. So we will discuss it on our other session. But today we can go for the first one as a text field. We can check that ephemeral state as a text field. So how the text field be work here? So text field is decorated with the underline, and you know that. And if you see that go for the Flutter sessions or Flutter page in which they describe this text field. So you can learn it very simple. Simple. There is a text field. You can call it. You can input it, and there we have some decorations. Simple. So how we can do that? I will achieve it a small example with small example. You can see that. So here what happened that we needed simple text field first step, and then we can go for the text edit controller to check that or to work with the states on that case. And we have to means if we input something we have to save data like that. So that means we need a listeners for that. So these approaches we can work with. So in this states, how it works and how we can use the listener. So first we go step by step, then we learn it more clearly about this. Okay, we'll discuss it. And once that simple controller you have created, that we have to dispose it because of memory leaking. Okay, so I'm giving some examples how it works and how we can use it, so we'll see step by step. But first we have to create a simple stateless, and then stateless to be able to convert with the stateful, and then we can input something on that. So let's see these states. Okay, so let's start in Android Studio. So here we have just simple, we have a stateless widget, and under that what we have done, that means a simple material app, and then we have removed all the things. This simple. And if you go with that with the scaffold, so what we have done, as we have done, we have to go with a home, and under the home we can use that scaffold, and that scaffold we have to inside it we have to use those widgets. So our first widget is this. Okay, and I already told you, if you go for that debug show material, sorry, uh, yeah, not banner, you have to do the false. Okay, it's not showing there. And here two things we have. Number one is your app bar. If you go with the app bar, so here we have a simple uh, title, and go for the title. Here we have a text, and under the text what we do, this is our state, or we can say that is stateful exam. I'm giving the app name. Okay, and if we go with the body, and body, I'm doing nothing with that. I'm making it in a center, nothing else, just simple. Okay, so this is our simple app, and we have to learn. At this time I'm running it in the browser, so let's see what be the simple result for that. Okay, so if you see that there the, yeah, you can see that this is a simple stateful example we have. Now I'm doing little changes here. Do one thing, we remove this center, and we'll do after that. So first we will put the all body as in the padding. So we have a padding class for that, and I will describe you in my session what is exact padding doing. Okay, but here this is when you say when you call it, that is called your simple padding. Okay, and here what to do, you just pass it padding, and whenever you want to give some static values, so we can use that constant, and we can give that age. mm, Insets dot all, and here we can give this whatever you want, you can just do. So this is the first parameter for the padding, and for what we need to do, that means what child we need it here on the second part, so that is called the comma separation with the padding, and then we can use it as in a child. So the child is what is, I'm just using the column for now. Okay, uh, yeah, so this is our column. So this is the first step of the padding. So this is your column, comma padding. So under that column, what we need it, that is important. So I just want to go with the child. Okay, so that means is a child with the column, and is the padding, whatever. And in this column, what we have to do, that is very simple. So first we have to check that which kind of alignment you want on that. So otherwise you can call it, if you do not go with the alignment, so we can go for just directly with the uh, text field. But here our purpose is to make a multiple text field, so we can use it as in a children. So that means the array of multiple childs. So here a very good thing with the Flutter, it provide you the, you can pass the multiple children under that, means text field 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1. So here we are using the column because of it shows that as a vertical and with the paddings. So that's see, but first we'll run this if it works well. Okay, so I think it's very simple, nothing about this. We have a simple static example, and then if we using that anything, so it show you the padding on that. So like a text field, we need to use it here. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so once it's done and we have a simple column in it, what to do? That means, as I discussed, we need a multiple text fields or a single text field. So if a single text fields, we can work with the child only. But if we need a multiple text fields, what to do? So we need a children on that case. Okay, so at this time I'm making a children, and this is the array. Okay, so under this, what we needed a text field, and I'm giving it like this. So when we run it, this children here, so what be the answer, what be the result? Okay, so you can see that here we have a text and we can input something. And likewise, if you want to go with the other text fields, you can just go for the multiples be there. So that means you can make a multiple widgets inside that children. Okay, so if you run this, that means there are multiple text fields. If you can see there, so there are three things. Okay, three text fields here. So at this time, first we choosing our one. So only one we have to work. So only one. But here, one more thing, that I need a center of this text field. So before that, if you go with the children, they provide a very good um, alignment. So we can go with whenever you go with that paddings or likewise, so you can go with the child, and then column inside we have a, before children we have a main axis alignment. That is the most important. Whenever you go for the columns, so which columns you want, that means you can go with the alignment of the columns. So it is your main axis alignment. You can see that which kind of, there we were center and space around, space between, space evenly, start and the values. So if you go with, if you have three texts, you can go with the space evenly, so it go with this like this. Okay, but here I need a center, so I am going with the center. And this is a simple text field. And one more thing, that's a very good thing they provide for the text field, we need a decoration. So under the decoration of this, what we have, a very simple um, decoration we can use like an input. So we have a input decoration, and under the input decoration, first thing is that what we need to pass it. So that means we can go with your hint text. So hint text we like enter your name and whatever. Okay, and then we have a comma, and you can go which kind of text, you without border you want or the border you want. If without border you want, you just go with like this, but if with border you want, you can go that border. And what border you want, outline input border. So that means this is the class we can call. So if you run this, what happens, you can see, yeah, so it is a alignment center and with the border. Okay, so you can pass it something. So here we have a enter your name, and then very simple it is, and the Flutter is very simple, and we can do many things. But sometimes we have a difficulty with the builds and other things, so I will describe you those actions how we can do. So I think this is a very first level of the text field. Then how we can pass the state here, we'll see. So this is our first text. So what happens? Just simply say we have to call the scaffold, then we call for the app bar, then we have a body with the padding or without padding you can use. So you can use it directly child here, but if you want to the padding, so I want the column. So inside the columns we need a multiple text, so we can create a children. So we have created multiple childs, and then we can call it as a center align. That is very simple. Okay, so these steps we have to fulfill first. Now what we can use with this session, so that means how we can input those values and how it remember that at a runtime these values we have to pass. Okay, this is the first point of the state. Okay, so here this the steps we have followed. So what to do for the state? So first step is that you have to go for your app name and then say the show context actions and then make it a state. Okay, so you can see that here it creating the state, and by that means at a runtime it can set the state, and whatever be the work we can do according to the widgets it can work. Okay, that's very simple. So rest everything is fine, so it become a state. And when we run this thing and then we'll see everything is fine. Yeah, that is fine. Okay, so what to do for this state? The first step for this, because of state is based on the particular widget, so here for the input values or anything here, as we are using the controller, and in your jetpack what we are using the remember. So that is the difference whenever we go for the states on that. But that remember we work for everything, that is not a particular widget related. But here as we can see that it is a two kind of things. One is your widget related and the other is your app related states. So two states we have. So that means widget related steps we can say it is the temporary. Okay, and app state I will describe you how we can achieve. So this is the first step, and then what we needed, we need a controller for this. So we can go for the controller, and here I'm using the text edit controller because of we are using that controller. So this is a very important controller whenever we work with the text field here. Okay, so for this we have a text edit controller, and we just check that this controller a lot of things be there if we go with the class. Okay, so what it can do, it can do many things. That means it works with the callbacks be here, there are some durations we can use it, so that's lot of things be there. But at this time you can just simply learn whenever with the state call, and during this state we can get it the values, and then just where you want it, that means we can set the value. So runtime we can set or get the values. So it is doing the same thing as the jetpack doing using the by, remember by. Okay, so here what we can say that we can get or set the things we have and we can call it simple. So whenever any text it's as the name is, whenever we work with the text field and you want any input, and we can use this controller. And how you can pass this controller be here, you just say that controller is your text edit controller and then say comma before decoration, you can use it or anywhere. Okay, so here that means is a one of the parameter under the text field. So this is we can use the controller first thing. Second thing is that we have to pass, and then third is that means we can create one function for this, that is the dispose. Okay, so whenever the screen be disposed or anything happen, so that means we can, that's a good habit you have to do. That means whenever you can go with the text edit controller, you have to create, you can dispose it at that time, simple. Okay, so that's you have to do, it's very simple. What we have called, so first thing is that for this text controller, this text editing controller, we are doing the set or get the values be here. We can pass it as in the controller here inside the text field, and then we can dispose it when the runtime be over. Okay, so let us start it here. If we go with any login form, so what to do, you just need to make the two text field. So just copy it, paste it, and you need one more thing, that is called your elevated button. So we can go with that elevated button, and here we have a nothing at this time. So what to do? You just go for the, okay, so this is your whatever we have to work on this on under the press, that you can give the method. I will show you how you I will describe you. And here on the child you have to give text. So that means what name you want to give to on your button. So that's called your submit button or what button. So this is a very simple way you have to go with this. Okay, so let's see. So for now I am doing the curly braces here, and this is your child. For the child, if you want to give that any labeling, you can do that. Okay, so here for now this is the text child I'm using for, so and giving the name to that submit. Okay, that's very simple. So I think this is your first, your enter your name, and then second is your enter the password. I think that is you can do simple. So for this what we needed, we needed two controllers. So this is the first controller. At this time I am using the controller 1 here, and you can give the name as a name edit controller, password edit controller, and likewise. And here I'm just dispose it with the first one, and here I'm using the first one, and here you give that enter your password. Okay, so that's very simple steps we have to follow. And if you run this, so we can see, okay, so this is the enter name, enter password, and submit, but there is no internal padding we have done. So we'll see how we can do these paddings. Okay. Okay, for the padding, what to do? So here you can see that under the body we have these text fields, and elevated button as in a children. Okay. So for a padding, as I told you that we have to call this padding as the complete children, but now internal children's we have to go the same way. You have to go for the padding, and inside the padding, what to do? You just go for the age insets, and here the age insets we your dot all we have to use, and I'm giving the value at this time 8. Okay, so this is your 8, and because of here we need to pass that values as a text field. So what to do? These text field I want to make it the child of this padding. So as I describe you that whatever be the padding we are doing, padding comma child here above. So same we have to go for here, that is padding comma child, and then you have to shift that code of the text field here, just simple. Okay, so the same thing you have to follow. I will show you again. Here is your padding. Here you can go for the edge insets, simple, and say that all, and giving the value 8. Then you go for the comma and make a child of this, and child is who? That is our text field. This is text field. Okay, so this is your next step you have to follow. Okay, but here that means we need these children as in a comma separated, so you can make it comma separated because of the first padding we have done, second padding we have done for the internal child, and if you want to go with this you can do, but I'm not doing this at this time. Okay, so if you see the scenario of this, so you can see that they are separate out. Okay, so this is your name and your password, then submit. So whenever the state works, that means if you're doing some entry here, so this means it get the values, then set the values. So whenever it set the values, get the values, we can submit it and pass it to anywhere, like in the API, like in your DB site. So that I will describe you. But here, I think this is the second step be clear for these paddings, and this is your elevated button. So we can design the elevator button in many ways. I will describe you in the next session how. But at this time, just important is the state. Okay. So here that everything is fine. We have created the text edit controllers. We have disposed it. We just call it that as a text field controller. Now, if anybody doing something wrong and he want to do immediate action on that, so you can make it the cross. Okay, so I will describe you how we can set the icon for that and call it. That means you can clear your state. Okay, so the next step is that I want to give some suffix icon. Okay, so here I am just giving this simple suffix icon, and then that is the icon button I'm choosing. Yeah, okay, in this icon button, so I will describe you how many type of buttons and other sessions, but here it is the simple icon button. And if you want to go with that icon button, you can go both on the on pressed. So on pressed you have to go with that again, that's curly bracket we have. So so for this and then comma, you have to go with your icon dot whatever be you want to present any icon there. Okay, so let's see. So that means we need to close this, and then it means we can put something inside this action, and then here I am using that any icon. Okay, so here I am using the icon class, uh, that is simple icon, and under that I want to show something, that is icons dot clear. Yeah, that is the clear we have. Okay, so that means this is the icon. So that means if you run this and we'll see what happens. Yeah, you can see that this is the icon clear. So same, you have to do the same approach, or you can copy paste it from the above and then do it here. Okay, so that means if we go with this kind of stuffs, that means we have to just simply say that icon buttons, we have the icons, and likewise that we can cover it. Now, what action we have to do, that is very simple, how we can call. Okay, so let's see here. So you can see that here we have two crosses we have, and then we can clear it out the thing. So for that what we need it, we just go for the on press. Under that icon button, we need to call this text edit controller dot clear. Okay, so the same thing you have to do here for the other one. So here we have a text edit controller 1 and dot clear. Okay, now we have to run again and see. Yeah, so if you put something and then if getting wrong, so you can clear it. So it become very easy for the password also. Okay, and the other thing is that whenever we doing any login, or we can go with the text edit values. So that means the first step is that we can go to that state, and then we can set or get the values and using the controller, because of it happen under the controller everything. That means controller manage everything here. Okay, so if you go with the login button and if you want to go with the strings values, so for what to do better, you can separate it out that values here, like here I'm taking the two values, a string name and a string password. Okay, so these two values I have to pass it here uh, under the on press button. Okay, so if you want to check that, okay, so first we check directly our values here. mm, Print, if you have a text edit controller 1, sorry, simple text edit controller and dot text dot toString. So if this is a value, that means if you go with that values, and then it can, on the event on elevated button on press, it can show it on the print value. Okay, so you can see that here those values be here. Okay, so same thing if you go with that the other one, that means for the password, and there we have a controller one. So that means everything be here, that means we have our set values and get values. So first it get the value from here, like if I say the name and if I say that password. So when we click it on that event, it's showing me here. So better you can use these values under the name and the password. So for that, what to do, you just go for the name and then you can pass that value under that name. Okay, so for that your name, you just go for that edit string, it's your value, and you can pass it here. The same thing you have to do for the password. So here it is the password, and here it is a 1, and you can pass those values. But here I am using one function that is called the login, and under that login I have to pass that name comma password. And for this name and login password, what to do, using that void function be here. So this is your void login, and here we have a string name comma pass values. Okay, so yeah, okay, so this is your name and this is your password. So at this time we just call this function, and on my next session we will see that how we can use these two values be here. Okay, and for now I'm just print this values. So this is your print, and here I'm using the name only, and for this print I'm using the password only. Okay, so that means those values we call it on the button here. So under that, what we do in the future, on my next session we call with the API, and then we'll see, and also we can insert in that these values in the database also, but API we are calling for with PHP. Okay, so these we have to do, and the next session means next visit we have to check, that means how the session be done on. So here today we have learned that the session be with the text edit controller, and everything should be here with the get and set values. Okay, one more time if I run that, and here if you see that this is the name val. Okay, I'm giving my name, that is, and if I'm giving the password 12345, so submit it, and then you can see these values. So we have to pass these values with the package, I mean API, and then we can call it, and lot of things be there, and how we can make Figma design, and then convert it into your Flutter. That's the easy steps we have to learn. So in my future session we can learn it. Okay, thank you so much for the day.